Good evening and welcome. Is it impossible that the kind of butchery we have seen happening in Israel at the hand of these Islamist terrorists will never happen in India? Can we take a guarantee that if the line of the Congress party and the left and Asaduddin Owaisi is followed, and India ends up directly or indirectly supporting terrorist groups like the Hamas, then groups like the Hamas will not carry out the same butchery in India that they have carried out in Israel? Is it impossible that the same atrocities that we have seen in Israel, which the whole world is talking about, the elderly being targeted, babies being killed at point-blank range, babies being picked up, snatched from their mothers, and babies being taken hostage, women being raped, women being taped while being raped, religious slogans being shouted while raping women, that these kind of things will not happen in India? Do you really think, ladies and gentlemen, that the war that you're seeing in Israel, the terrorist attack that you've seen on Israel, will never happen in India, that it's really that far off? Is it really that far off? Think about it. For my view is clear. It is not that far off. The same dangerous terrorist thinking, the same radical jihadist, Islamist terrorist thinking that Israel is a victim of, we are a victim of as well. It's just that we have had a very strong government since 2014 and they don't have the guts to hit us anymore. But we know that there are groups in India that support them. We know that if these groups are given a chance, they will rise again. And therefore, viewers, I just wanted to begin by saying to you, let us not be complacent and think that this will never happen to us. And that is why the war that Israel is fighting is very decisive. And it should be decisive. Because Israel is fighting this war on behalf of all of us. Israel is fighting this war for you and me. Israel is fighting this war for all free-thinking people across the world. Israel is fighting this war on behalf of all of us who have had enough with this Islamist terrorism, especially with Islamist terrorism. So I say to you tonight that you have a choice too. You can watch and think that no, this is someone else's war. I'm sitting in Mumbai, I'm sitting in Pune, I'm sitting in Kolkata, I'm sitting in Jammu. It's never going to happen to us. Well, it's not someone else's war. It is our war as well. It is our war against these Islamist terrorist groups who take babies hostage. Against these Islamist terrorists who try to negotiate with armies and countries using babies. These Islamist terrorists who shout religious slogans as they rape young Israeli women and kidnap the elderly. These are not humans. If the Hamas is not completely crushed and completely finished, then believe me, viewers, there is no guarantee that these Hamas-type groups, and there are many across the border in Pakistan, we know, and some trying to grow in India, and there are people in India who say they are spokespersons and attached to the Hamas. If the Hamas is not completely finished and crushed and not taught a lesson they will never forget, then remember, Hamas-type groups could try to do something similar in India or attack us in India in a similar way in the future. Babies have been picked up. Fully armed men, after raping women, have picked up babies, and the elderly have been dragged out of their homes and abducted. Are you sure something like this will never happen in India? Are you sure? Remember, Israel for a short while went soft on Hamas, and look at what they have faced. If we ever go soft, because when we were soft, we know 26/11 happened. And believe you me, viewers, if the Congress left and these Cudos come back to power, this country will go soft, because these are the groups that support the Hamas. And if we continue to be soft on the Islamists in the future in the name of pseudo-secularism, if it is told to us, if you're secular, you have to support terrorists, then I say to you, watch the horrors of Israel very closely, ladies and gentlemen. And without the slightest bit of exaggeration, let me say to you that if you do not come together as one against Hamas-type groups, unless you say that yes, we are ideologically driven to crush groups like the Hamas, we don't care about pseudo-secularism. If we don't say that as proud nationalists, if we don't become a strong, hard state, then we will be the next victims of Islamist terrorism once again in India. I am proud that our government has taken a totally pro-Israel line. And I am calling upon every Republic viewer to consider today whether it is truly impossible that unless Islamists in India are put in their place, similar horrors will not be repeated on our soil.